Good evening and welcome back to Keep Evolving. This is season 2 and we are on episode 6. And we thank you, our viewers, for continually being with us, watching and sharing. And we look forward to interacting with you just more. If you could hit the comment section, that we will very much appreciate. And today on the forum, to continue this discussion, is Professor Minja. Salimia wananchi. Martin anasemanga tuwasalimie pale.
Thank you. Good evening, viewers, and welcome to our evening's discussion.
Wonderful. And so, Professor is an expert in leadership. And from the last 2 weeks, we have been talking very well about mentorship, and especially mentorship within the home.
Yeah.
But I want to give it a twist because you are an expert in leadership, so that we can do self-leadership and guide personal guidance into mentorship and into mentoring, which I think has a lot to do with how we ourselves decide to take our journey of life in terms of leadership. And so that we do not lose the viewer, if you could begin for us by just recapping, because you've been here before to talk about leadership, recapping on leadership and especially on self-leadership.
Yeah, thank you. I think when I was here, we didn't talk about self-leadership. We only talked about leadership. To differentiate leadership and self-leadership, perhaps you'd look at leadership as the ability to influence others, to achieve a goal, or to make things happen, to cause something to happen through others. But when it comes to self-leadership, we are talking about the same ability, this time to influence yourself. To influence yourself. And when we say influencing self, you're influencing your thoughts, your behaviors, your actions, for personal effectiveness and to achieve personal goals. Because with the general, let me call it general leadership, you achieve goals for an organization, for a group or a team. That's why you're influencing people. But when you are influencing self, it's because you're going somewhere. And you need to have your mind focused, your actions directed towards your focus so that you become effective. That's why I'm talking about personal effectiveness. Yeah.
Wow, great. So everyone who does resolutions, everyone who sets goals, this is something that they would really equip themselves as a tool of life when they begin to become their own leaders.
Yeah, those are some of the few elements in personal leadership. You know, you can set a resolution and you don't go anywhere.
Yeah, true.
So, but it's a good beginning. If the will is there, but then remember the will is in the mind, in the soul, when you talk about the will, the mind, the soul, and all that. So that's the beginning. But if you don't take another step further, it just remains there. That's why people make resolutions, and at the end of the year, they are still where they started.
Or the first week of January.
Yes, they're still where they
they have abandoned.
Yeah. But now with the self-leadership, you make that resolution, and you determine to achieve what you have desired, either to be or to do.
All right.
Yes.
Deep stuff, like we say, kila mtu out of the bedroom. These are table conversations. And we would do well when we are listening to these conversations, all of us in the house. Let's move on just a bit within just elaborating on personal leadership and talk about benefits. You know, we have touched a bit, but if we would just open it up a little wider for the guys who have already started the journey and see the benefits up ahead for being their own personal leaders.
One, when you're a self-leader, there is a great benefit. Perhaps it's what initiates all this. You are very confident of yourself. You know where you're going. You know what you want. So there is that level of self-confidence to achieve things and to be successful. A self-leader has that. Then you have a goal. And for me, that is the greatest benefit. You have a vision and a goal. And nothing can sidetrack you when you're a self-leader. Even if a good thing comes on the way, you're willing to sacrifice and leave it. So these are people who will say, no, thank you, for a great opportunity. For example, you know you want to be this in your career. But something else comes on the way, which has perhaps more money than what your career perhaps will give you in the future. But you say, no. I'm not going to take that job. I'll not take that money. I'm not going to go that direction. Because that's not where my destiny is. I have a destiny. I know where I'm going. So you'll stick to that. So that helps you to be focused, determined. And you have a prize at the end. And you know that I must achieve this because this is what relates to my destiny. It's not something else that comes on the sideshow. Could be money, could be friends, or something that you don't have now. And others perhaps are seeing it as a great opportunity. Because not all opportunities are good for self-leaders.
For sure.
Yeah. So with the self-leadership, there are very nice opportunities that will come. Turn them down because they will sidetrack you. They will cause you not to reach your destiny and your vision. And that is the greatest benefit with the self-leadership. You almost become, although I'm hesitant to say this because God is our master, but you almost become a master of yourself. Yeah, so friends cannot influence you, or even a person at a higher position than you. They cannot be influence going against your vision and your purpose and your destiny.
The drive is consistent.
Yes.
And we have talked about consistency in this forum so much. Yeah. And I think in this generation, the younger people, because we aim that we talk much more to the younger people as we talk to the parents. And you're telling the younger people that it is self-leadership that builds the drive for focus.
Yeah.
Wow. And I hope everyone is following and taking notes so that we are together as we continue. Let's talk about self-awareness in self-leadership. Where does it come in? Where do they meet?
First of all, for you to be aware of self, let me start. Where does it come from?
Yes.
Self-awareness starts happening when you make a deliberate move to, and this is not my own version, I borrowed it from the old Jewish sages who used to conduct something they used to call the audit of the soul.
Yes.
The audit of the soul simply is taking an assessment of yourself, just like an auditor, and seeing who you are now and your strengths, your weaknesses. That is what helps you to begin being aware of self. For example, I have a problem with temper. That's part of self-awareness.
Yes.
And as a leader, you really don't succeed when you cannot keep your temper in check or anger in check, something like that.
Yeah.
Or I have a strength in art. And here someone else, like a parent, wants me to be, let's say, a doctor.
Yes.
And that's not where I want to go. So if you're a self-leader and this is where my potential is, and my gifting is in this area, you already discovered self. Yeah. So you start working towards that. That's why you hear people with degrees in medicine going into music. They're doing the right thing. Because in the first instance, they needed not to go into that field because that is perhaps they were influenced by colleagues. Or a parent wanted to have a doctor at home because maybe he never made it, or if he made it, he thought that maybe they can succeed in the practice in the family, but that's not their destiny. So a self-leader, even as a teen or a young adult, once you realize that this is who I am and this is who God created me to be, then nobody else can come and tell you, be this or be that. Yes.
Awesome.
A case in point, when I was in high school, all my teachers wanted me to be a scientist.
Right.
And so when at A level, I dropped science and I went to do economics.
Yes.
Actually, one of my teachers told me, Minja, you are crazy. You are a scientist. You are among the leading in this class. So how can you drop science to go and do economics? I'm not saying economics is bad, but that's not you.
It was not making sense to them.
Yes.
But you had a goal.
But I had a passion.
Yes.
For me, I could see myself, and I didn't know much, but I knew a few people I could see in the media. The former president, actually, he's the one who motivated. Because one time I asked friends, what did Honorable Kibaki do in the university? That is after I did my Form 4.
Yes.
I was told he did a course called economics. I said, admired him. And that is what I'll do if I can be like him.
Yes.
You see, he was my mentor from very far.
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't even know anyway. Maybe he'll know now if he's told. But the thing is, I developed some fire in the inside of me.
Yes.
And so that even when I started now advancing that field, I felt, this is what I was made to be. Yeah. And so my teachers and the so-called now mentors or career guidance people in school, they thought I should have taken another track, which I didn't. Yeah. So, and a parent, that can also be with a parent, where a parent feels that my child should do this as opposed to this.
Yes.
Yeah. Even my dad wanted me to join another profession.
Wow.
And I told him, no, I will not. I want this. Yeah.
Great. This is a conversation we had last week. We were challenging people to be themselves, and take what their passion is.
Yeah.
So it's very good that you are not part of the panel, but you are actually just speaking into it.
Yeah.
Just before we take a short break, we would want to see from the crowd, because we want to head into mentorship.
Yeah.
And we have young people watching, and parents looking at us and asking, so how do I identify someone who is a self-leader? Yes.
Yeah. There are a few elements that perhaps you could pick to know that this person is a self-leader. The way they talk, they'll talk about some place they are going.
Yes.
And even sometimes their peers may confuse them either to be arrogant or to be very abstract or out of this world people.
Yeah.
I have when I was in school, several times I was told I live in illusion. Because I could tell them when I become this, I want to work in Central Bank and Treasury. And I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them about Central Bank. And, my first posting, after I completed my first degree, I was posted to Treasury.
There we go.
So my dream, my passion was fulfilled.
Right.
So the people that we used to say, you talk big, and you talk abstract things, then again they'll say, so the things you used to tell us, actually they are true. So a self-leader will actually have a tongue that speaks about a direction.
Yes.
So the speech. Number 2, motivation.
Motivation.
These people are highly motivated, whether a teacher is there or a parent is there, they will still work on their goal. It doesn't matter who is beside them, they will still focus on their goals. I remember one time when in my class, we were joking and I was telling them, do you know all of you guys will fail and I'm the only one who will go to university. Of course I was making fun.
Yes.
Unfortunately, only 3 of us made it in that class. There were 3 classes, but only 3 of us made it to go to university in my class, and I was the leader.
Great.
In terms of points. Yes. So when it comes to motivation, that one is inside. It's you're not given by anybody, but it's like fire. Jeremiah talks about some fire burning in his bones. It's the same thing with when you have a passion for something and you feel this is what God made me to be. You pursue it.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. We will take a short break and we will come back and identify a few more things we can look at in self-leaders, and then head on into mentorship. And this is Keep Evolving. Stay with us. Welcome back, and we are still on Keep Evolving. We are talking about self-leadership, and we will head into mentoring and being and choosing mentors in a while. But we want to just continue a bit with this discussion and ask, what is the journey to becoming your own leader?
Oh, great. The journey starts with self-awareness, and we talked about it.
Yes.
Being aware of yourself.
Yes.
And how do you get aware of yourself? How do you get to that point where you can say, I didn't know myself? I said, get a piece of paper, very practical.
Yes.
What comes to your mind in terms of your strengths? Yes. And I'll say, I'm a speaker. I don't feel ashamed to stand before people. So that's a strength.
Yes.
So I'm able to address people. Just write them down. I'm good at artwork. I'm good at this. You just list them as they come from your mind, because something that you are, you don't actually struggle to get them out of you. Yeah.
True.
Yes. Then the The bit that is more challenging now in self-leadership is identifying your weaknesses when you're not truthful to yourself. Yeah, because there's need to be truthful to who you are. So again, on another column, same paper. First column, your strength. It's like assets. Right? You are doing accounting.
Yeah.
And another one, your liabilities. Your weaknesses. Your weaknesses. Again, what comes to you. But this sometimes takes a bit of more thinking because some things at the back of your mind never come. For example, you snap.
Yes.
But you see, you don't always snap. It's occasional. But when you snap, you cause disaster. So because it may be hidden at the back of your mind, so it takes time for you to reflect. That is why this journey of auditing the soul is very important. So that's the starting point. You're aware of yourself. Then, what do I want in life? What is my passion? Put it down. I like doing this. I'm not even forced. Nobody even comes to encourage me to remind me do this. This is what comes out of me.
Yes.
Naturally. This is what I do. So that's your passion, because that, if you pursue it, you'll actually realize it will lead you to your purpose or your mission in life. Because that's the second thing in the journey. Discover your purpose. Discover your mission. And the best way to discover is to know what is it that you like doing. Then the third thing that you need to do is to have a vision. What will I want to be 10 or 15 years from now? A vision is not a mirage. People say, aim to the sun, but hit the moon. No. If your vision is to hit the moon, like it or not, come hell or high waters, you must hit the sun. Because that's your vision. So you do everything possible to get to that level. If you don't get to that level, and I'm not talking about in terms of a position like being the MD of Safaricom. That's not, it's good, but it's not the ultimate in life. It's not great, as far as I'm concerned. Or being a vice chancellor, that's not the ultimate. The ultimate is, who will I be 20, 30 years from now? What kind of influence will I have on people? You may not be the CEO, but you may be more influential than your CEO. So those are the things that you have to look at in terms of your visioning. And then, so that now from there, see, now you have your vision. Again, you have written it down that I want to be a person of influence. And then, of course, legacy. When I die, I want them to write on my tombstone, here lies da 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 da. That's part of it. So you have already said. So once you set where you're going, then begin with baby steps. So you don't want to say, I want to be the best scientist that will discover a drug in this and that, and you have not even done the first biology class. So you go to the class and do the first biology lesson. And continue on. So take baby steps. And that's the journey. And it is very tough in terms of self-leadership, because challenges are there, hindrances are there, obstacles are on the way, sometimes good, if I can call them good obstacles. So you got to be very sure that this is what I was meant to be, and I'm not going to be derailed by sideshows or anything. You focus on that until you get it. And that's why you hear people in their 80s getting degrees at university, first degree. Because this person knew that I wanted to have a degree in this. I was so impressed, I had it on radio, I think last week, where some elderly ladies somewhere in Rift Valley, they were doing KCP. I mean, they are preparing for KCP, elderly, because they never went to school, but they had desired to go to school. And I felt these are leaders. These are the people we should emulate. They may not even go beyond class 8, but these are people we should sit and listen to, because they have something great, perhaps even greater than some people with PhDs.
They have focused on their goals, and their vision was clear to them, and they are getting out there and doing it. Wow, wonderful. Don't get lost in the wording. Follow slowly, and this will be available for you even after we broadcast it. Let us do some practical. It will be, we would shortchange the audience if we don't give them something to practice. You've given them a lot of it. Let us now bring it home with mentorship. I need a mentor. Even maybe to be a self-leader, I need to look at someone who is self-leading. Now, how do I begin as part of baby steps? How do I employ this in mentorship? How do I begin to mentor someone and say, this is part of what I will do as a leader or as a self-leader? I will mentor this person, or I will look for a mentor this way. How do we marry the two in looking for mentorship or in mentoring and self-leadership?
Let me start with looking for mentors.
Yes.
There are two ways you could look for a mentor, depending on the availability of the mentor, and I'll explain that. Yes. I know what my vision is, what my passion is, and I identify someone senior, someone who has made it, and that I can approach that person and ask them to work with. I want to work with you, and I want to know what it takes to get someone to where you are. So that would be actually the best way to mentor. But you see, you may be very far from the person that you admire. Like I told you, the way I used to admire President Kibaki. Well, of course, he was not a president, he was a finance minister then, when I was in high school. And so you can't get, but what do you do? Already, because he's my role model, in terms of career, I'll study him. What is it that he does? What did he do in school? What does he do? So all these things, you're so much interested in his life so that you can get as much as possible, because already he is your mentor, in quotes. He is your mentor because he's your role model. He's actually your role model. And you desire to get to those levels. So you realize that even if someone is very far from you, but you see, he has something that I can get from him. Let's say an example, a teen wants to be an IT wizard. And you have read, for example, the story of Jeff Bezos, which is a very motivating story for me, where he started, how he started when they left Cuba and all that. So for me, if I was an IT person desiring, and of course it's not easy for you to get to Jeff. Yeah, maybe you're a Kenyan, even a person in US, but you can't get. He's too far. But you want to say, to look at it and ask, what is it that he did? Who did he associate with? What is he that he studied? What were his motivations? How was his habit and all that? Who did he associate with? So that way, you identify somebody and you start tracking them, and they actually become your mentor. Now that is identified. As a parent, I can also help my children to start discovering self. The tricky bit with this is only comes when this parent is not a self-leader. So it will be very difficult to actually even develop my own kids to be self-leaders when I am not one. Because remember, there is also the role modeling bit of it. And at home, you cannot fake it. So they know who you are. So if you start talking big about self-leadership and all these things and visioning, and perhaps even your kid and your wife looks at you and says, does he have any vision? So when they look at you and they can't see what you're telling them, then you see you don't have any authority to provide that mentoring. So for me, that becomes a bit more tricky. But if you're a self-leader at home, then of course you will gain a crowd, and from there you will start also showing them the way. Again, the same process. Start with baby steps. Start challenging your children. What would you want to be? Then as a parent, I'll ask them, then do you know how you become that? We start the journey. Oh, you want to be a musician? Yes. Do you know how to go about it? No. I'll be taking you to some music classes. Then I'll buy a piano, I'll bring it at home, and you'll start, all those kinds of things. So very slowly, baby steps, people start discovering themselves. Then of course, you start also helping them to be self-aware in terms of not just their passion and their talent, but in other areas. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And how are we going to address especially these weaknesses that you have? Because that's the part that we don't want to talk a lot about. Yeah, we can talk about the strengths that we have and building on those strengths, but these weaknesses can also bring you down. So as a parent, again, you want to walk with your children in that direction. So it is both ways. If you don't have a parent you can admire or be a mentor, you don't give up. Identify someone else out there, whether virtually or in reality, face to face, and start working with them, and you'll be surprised how much you learn from them.
Wow. So we are saying it is possible.
Yes.
Both for the parent who feels they are not self-leaders yet, they can begin to take these baby steps.
Sure.
And as they take them, they bring along everyone. You know, you don't have to say, I will take 5 years and then I can begin, mentoring my children. You can take the journey together.
Together, right.
So that no time is lost. We cannot lose any more time. If you realize I am not a self-leader, you begin the journey, and time is now. That is what we are saying. But the challenge out there is, the time is now. Begin. And then we can talk about this in 2 years and see how has the journey been. Where did you begin? Let's push the mentorship bit just a little for the parents, because I'm interested also in them. I am the parent of a teenager or a young adult. I am not a self-leader. How do I find a mentor without feeling like now I am all these years old? How do I ask someone to be my mentor?
As a parent, if you have this big ego and you don't want to be seen like you have these weaknesses, the route of escape is easy these days in this generation. There's a lot of information out there. Read books that are relevant to your area, your desire, your passion, what you want to do. There's so many books about not only leading self, but how to develop self, how to renew yourself, and all those things. And to also listen to people. These days there's a lot of information. Go to YouTube and search for that kind of information. And then once you listen, just like the way we listen to preachers, then start making those baby steps that you have talked about, and you will improve. I normally say, we say that you cannot teach an old dog new tricks. But in terms of leadership, we don't have any old dog. All of us are young and they have the opportunity to renew our minds, because it's about mindset. So we can renew our minds. It's about renewing our minds and looking at things differently and determining to grow. And you can continue growing until the day you leave this world. So we don't stop growing as leaders. So as a parent, if I feel I don't want to empty myself to someone, get all these kinds of information. But of course, it's more powerful if you identified someone who is at a higher level than you, will hold you accountable. For example, if you have some weaknesses that they derail you, even as a self-leader, what you need to do then is get that mentor, someone who will hold you accountable. You'll be meeting occasionally for a cup of coffee and asking, how are you doing? And someone you can trust to empty yourself, and they'll help you to come out of whatever you are in. And so you can also be mentored as I mentor.
As you mentor.
And as I'm mentored by this friend of mine, I'll also be mentoring my children.
Wonderful. I think that's a perfect place to end it by saying that you can take the journey as you bring someone along with you. So do not be afraid, even as a young adult, because the young adults now are also becoming peer mentors. You can take the journey as you bring people along with you. There is no time to go it alone. Life is, I think, too short to say as I pursue my vision, I want to go it alone. So mentor as you are mentored, and bring someone along for the journey.
Nobody is perfect. True. Even the greatest mentor still has issues. All of us have issues. So nobody is perfect. All of us are growing. I am growing daily, and it's a determination for me to grow as a leader.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Professor, for giving us your time. Guys, this is Keep Evolving, and like we say, please do keep evolving. This video is for you to like, to subscribe for this channel, and to share it with your friends, to make sure that you're taking the journey with someone, even if they do not know it, or even if you do not know it, but be the one who shares this with someone so that they can grow. We will be here to help you keep evolving if you keep it here, so do keep it here. Thank you and bye-bye.